Welcome to Bobby Does Recaps. This is One Piece Season 1. Our show kicks off with the biggest troll in pirate history, Gold Roger. Right before they execute him, he basically invents the entire pirate era by yelling, "You want to know where my treasure is? Yeah, I left it out there somewhere. Have at it, dudes." Boom, the pirate era is born. Cut to years later. This cheerful lunatic in a straw hat, Monkey D. Luffy, pops out of a barrel on a random pirate ship like it's a surprise party. He's ridiculously happy, made of rubber, and has no concept of fear. Why? Because as a kid, he ate the Gum Gum devil fruit. There's a side effect. He can now stretch like a human bungee cord. But there's a downside too. He can't swim. And that's a pretty rough weakness for a guy whose entire job is on the ocean. Luffy beats up pirates on the ship, saves a cowardly but nice cabin boy named Koby, and tells him his lifelong dream. He's gonna find the One Piece and become king of the pirates. Not a great pirate, the king. This kid's got no modesty. Luffy and Koby end up at this marine base town where, turns out corrupt marines are there. I know, shocking, right? The base is run by Axe Hand Morgan, a dude who literally has an axe for a hand and a massive ego to match. Out in the yard, tied up like a scarecrow, is the most depressed swordsman alive, Roronoa Zoro. Zoro's a bounty hunter who got arrested basically for doing the right thing, and Morgan plans to execute him. Luffy sees him, instantly decides, yep, that's my guy. No interview, no references, just vibes. Luffy breaks into the base and we meet Nami, red-haired thief, professional liar, and world-class pickpocket. She's sneaking in to steal a map to the Grand Line. Luffy also wants this map to start his pirate adventure. Zoro just wants his swords and some more time to brood. So they team up, sort of, and they take down Morgan in front of everyone. Luffy stretches all over the place. Zoro rocks 3 swords, and Nami's pretty handy with a quarterstaff. After the battle, Koby, inspired by Luffy, joins the Marines. Luffy sails off with Zoro and Nami on a tiny sloop. No food, no plan, but full confidence. What could go wrong, right? Next stop, a town with a clown problem. The pirate Buggy the Clown has taken over. He's got circus pirates, hostages in a big top, and one of the creepiest laughs you've ever heard. But he is no ordinary clown. He ate the chop fruit, which is another type of devil fruit, so he can cut his body into pieces and they can fly. Like a floating Mr. Potato Head of nightmares. Luffy and the crew get captured. Turns out that map that Nami stole is pretty popular and Buggy wants it. Nami pretends to betray Luffy to get close to Buggy, but he doesn't bite. We meet this small town kid, Kabaji, and a bunch of Buggy goons. But the main deal is Luffy versus Buggy in a Pirates with Powers showdown. Luffy uses Buggy's powers against him, trapping his body parts in crates, and now he actually does look like a Mr. Potato Head. The prisoners are freed and Buggy gets a free flight out of town. After all of this, Nami is still like, I work alone, and Luffy just smiles like, yeah, she'll come around. Later in their journey, they end up at a floating restaurant called Baratie. It's kind of like a pirate Red Lobster, but with better food and less Karens. It's here we meet Sanji, blonde, chain smoker, obsessed with women, and kicks like his legs are made of steel. He's the assistant chef, constantly getting smacked around by Zeph, the head chef with a peg leg and a bad temper. The crew enjoys a feast, but Luffy can't pay the bill and gets forced to work as a busboy. Nami continues trying to not get emotionally attached to anyone, and Zoro just drinks and broods. Oh, quick side note. Backstory time. Zeph and Sanji were shipwrecked years ago. Zeph basically cut off his own leg and gave Sanji all the food so the kid could live. Now they're kind of family, but the emotionally repressed kind. That's why Sanji refuses to leave the restaurant. It's his home. Back to the present. The Baratie gets a terrifying visitor. Dracule Mihawk, the world's greatest swordsman. Yellow eyes, giant crossblade, cape, total badass. He shows up looking for Luffy, but Zoro sees him and is like, this is my moment. Zoro challenges him. Even though Mihawk is basically a final boss, and Zoro's basically still in the tutorial, Mihawk humors him, then just destroys him. But Zoro must have earned his respect because Mihawk spares him and decides to let Luffy go. While all of this is going down, another threat rolls in. Arlong, a fishman pirate, super strong, shark teeth, full-on racist against humans. He tries to take over the restaurant, but Luffy and the Baratie crew fight back. Sanji sees Luffy getting beaten bloody to protect the restaurant and realizes this might finally be an idiot worth following. Luffy's losing the battle, but Arlong stops when Nami walks up and gives him the map. Turns out she's been part of Arlong's crew the entire time. Luffy doesn't buy it, but they leave with the map. So, after an awkward goodbye with Zeph, Sanji joins the crew as their cook. Luffy's crew is starting to actually look like a force to be reckoned with. Meanwhile, the Marines are not ignoring all of this. We've got Vice Admiral Garp chasing Luffy across the seas. Garp is kind of a big deal. Also, family twist, he's Luffy's grandfather. He loves Luffy, but also wants him to stop being a pirate. So it's kind of like awkward Thanksgiving energy on the high seas. So now, the crew heads to Nami's home, the Konomi Islands, specifically Coco Village. And here's where it stops being goofy fun and gets real. The village is controlled by the Arlong pirates. We find out Nami has secretly been working for Arlong as his cartographer. She's been stealing from pirates for him. The villagers all hate her, but there's more to it. All right, backtrack time. As a kid, Nami and her sister Nojiko were adopted by Belmare, a former Marine. They lived happily until Arlong's crew invaded. Arlong demanded money for every person in the house. Belmare didn't have enough money, but she refused to deny her daughters. So, to pay for the kids, she took the hit herself. Arlong shot her in front of Nami. Then, he made a deal. If Nami could bring him 100 million berries, he'd free her village. So, for years, Nami has been working herself to death, stealing and charting to buy her village's freedom. And, of course, you know Arlong has no intention of keeping that promise. Obviously. Let's go back to the present, where Nami finally snaps. Arlong betrays her using Marines to steal her hard-earned money. After this, she breaks down on the road, stabbing her tattoo over and over. Luffy walks up, sees her crying, and she finally asks him for help. Luffy puts his hat on her head, that precious straw hat he never lets anyone touch, and walks off with Zoro, Sanji, and Usopp to go beat Arlong into the ground. Oh, wait a second. Usopp, right. I forgot about our lying sniper. We met him earlier in Syrup Village. He's a kid with a long nose, famous for yelling, "Pirates are coming," kind of like the boy who cried wolf. He tells tall tales, but is actually brave when it counts. They save his rich friend Kayla from her butler, who was secretly a pirate named Kuro trying to kill her for her money. Usopp earns his moment, gets a real ship from Kayla, and joins Luffy's crew as their sniper. He's not so good at fighting hand-to-hand, but give him a slingshot and some distance, and he can handle himself. All right, back to the massive showdown at Arlong Park. Zoro's kicking some butt, but still injured from Mihawk. Sanji's kicking fishmen through walls. Usopp is running and screaming and occasionally landing shots, but Luffy goes straight for Arlong. He's not just fighting the guy. He's fighting for everything Arlong did to Nami. Luffy wrecks Arlong's map room, destroying all the charts Nami was forced to make, symbolic and also practical. He eventually crushes Arlong under the rubble of his own tower. The Arlong pirates are defeated and the villagers are finally free. But right about now, Garp and his Marines catch up to the crew. Luffy has one last showdown with Grandpa and finally wins his approval. Garp lets him go and takes off after the rest of the Arlong pirates. Nami officially joins the crew, for real this time, double agent days behind her. Wanted posters go up and Luffy gets a real bounty on his head. He's officially on the world's radar. The Straw Hats sail off as a real crew. 5 idiots finally heading towards the Grand Line, ready to take on whatever dangers come their way. And that's where One Piece Season 1 comes to an end. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to recapping another show for you very soon.